Hello everyone, this is Cody Lee of BlackCatBooks.org, author of I the Dragon, Cruel and Beautiful, Rabbit Hole, King Dio, and the now-released Lauren Frey.
Nintendo Switch
Wait, hang on. Fucking Rich, I don't want you talking right now. So, this has been a video I've wanted to respond to for the past couple of days since it went live. I think it went live yesterday. I don't pay attention to these things. The instant I saw the title, I felt a very strong desire to retaliate, to attack, to go after Rich for his nonsense, because this is exactly what I'm talking about. I'm not joking when I tell people that Valve Steam Deck fanboys are desperately trying to downplay the success of the Switch in order to hype up their piece of hardware that is never, ever going to be successful. It is nothing but a desperate attempt to disparage Nintendo fans and try to create this illusion that there is discontent among the gaming community with Nintendo and their consoles. This is just another form of Pretendoism. It is clickbait. It is an attempt at trying to create a narrative and to go after Nintendo. So let's see what our boy Rich, the pinnacle of human health and fitness, has to say in regards to this specific topic.
Nintendo, a few years ago, I made a video saying that the Nintendo Switch was, and is, still my favorite console of all time.
Yep. Like, I'm a big Nintendo fan, guys, but I fully expect that Valve is going to destroy them with this fucking, I don't even know what to call the Steam Deck, with the Steam Deck, right? With this tablet. Nintendo's gonna get killed by this overpriced tablet that can't even run the biggest games on the hardware.
Eating out the Super Nintendo. But you're starting to lose me.
Why?
And when the Steam Deck gets in my hands, I may never look back at the Nintendo.
He's hyperbolic. He's making this up. Like, the Steam Deck is never getting Breath of the Wild 2. It's never getting Bayonetta 3. It's never getting, like, new Mario parties, Mario Kart 8. Like, it's never getting Metroid Dread. It's never getting anything. Okay, buddy? Like, I've said this several times already, and this really does need to be emphasized, is that Nintendo and its exclusive library of games, the titles that you can only find on Nintendo hardware, has such a wide range of entries in such a wide range of genres. It is impossible for me to believe that someone could possibly say that there is nothing that interests me on Nintendo Switch. As you'll be seeing throughout this video, all Rich really tries to say is that, like, oh no, they don't have big third-party games. All the third parties are just putting old games on the platform. Well, guess what, Rich? That is every video game platform. It's the Xbox, it's the PlayStation, it's the Steam Deck, right? Like, it's bizarre to me how people will try and pretend that the decline of third parties everywhere is only a problem on Nintendo Switch, when in reality, like, third parties have been going down the shitter for decades now, and people refuse to really even acknowledge that it's a problem. Like, does he make clickbait videos about Grand Theft Auto 5? And, like, being re-released for every platform for the past, like, decade? No, like, of course not. Like, oh man, that's a testament to Grand Theft Auto's longevity and success. But, like, when Nintendo does it with, say, Mario Kart 8, right? Continues updating it with new content. Ooh, that's a sign that Nintendo is losing. Isn't keeping with the times. They're not upgrading their hardware enough. It is a joke. It is a downright joke.
Being honest with you, except for exclusives. Let's get into it.
Oh no, downplaying the exclusive. He's downplaying games that sell over 40 million copies, right? Animal Crossing is almost at 40 million sold. Like Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is at 50 million sold. Like Breath of the Wild, I'm sure, is going to go on to outsell Skyrim and Witcher 3 in the long run. Like, these aren't small games, is what I'm getting at.
A Nintendo Direct today, and they showed a lot of games, and a lot of people seem very happy with it. There are some things I'm looking for.
Yep. A lot of people are happy with the Direct, right? Like, he can't downplay that. Is that these Nintendo Directs, in spite of the best attempts from people like him, have become the definitive way to tell upcoming fans about new, exciting, upcoming Nintendo exclusives. Rich, 10 years ago, would have always told you that, Nintendo Directs, they're boring. They don't show enough stuff. They don't do anything. They should have stuck with traditional console format. What happened? Everyone copied the Nintendo Direct format because it is the best. But none of them have gained the same success or traction, in spite of being copycats, because their games just aren't as good.
Forward to, and I'll talk about those, and they seem really cool. But I'm starting, as time goes on with the Nintendo Switch, and it ages more and more and more.
The console's old. It's outdated. It can't stay competitive. You fuckers have been saying this since 2017, right? It still hasn't happened. Like, you constantly try to paint this narrative that the FPS is too low. The games aren't high res enough. They're not mature enough. They don't have enough visual effects. But in reality, no one notices or cares. Like that's the thing, is that I honestly don't really see a difference between Doom 2016 on Switch and other platforms. I went ahead and played Doom 2016 on Xbox Game Pass back when I was still a subscriber to compare the two, and it's really not that different. There's nothing different about it. In fact, one of the reasons I realized people like this was full of shit is when I was playing Doom 2016 on the highest difficulty on an Xbox, and then it started chugging. Like, the frame rate started chugging, and it just kind of dawned on me that the narrative that Nintendo Switch can't run these games is completely wrong, because it's Xbox. Like, I was playing on Xbox, right? I was playing on Xbox on the highest difficulty setting, and the frame rate starts chugging and can't keep up with what's going on screen. And I've never heard a single person really address that. I've never heard anyone talk about Doom running poorly on higher difficulty settings, and I think it's because PC gamers must not play games on higher difficulty settings, or really push or really do any real experimentation with certain situations. And when exactly do games start to chug? The narrative has always been that Nintendo games chug because they're on Nintendo, and Nintendo is weak, inferior hardware, when in reality, certain games are just poorly made in general. It has nothing to do with the hardware. I always blame the developer when it comes to this kind of stuff, and I don't see anyone else doing that. It's always been the thing where the gaming industry has been this thing where you blame the hardware for all the problems that these games have, but in reality, it's the developer. Kingdom Hearts really should be on a cartridge on Switch, and should have been years ago. And yet Square Enix had the brilliant idea of releasing the game on cloud, which doesn't fucking work. And it's not because of the hardware. You are delusional if you think Kingdom Hearts can't run on Switch. So,
and more. What I'm starting to see is that there is less of the third-party AAA ports that I loved on the Switch, and it's beginning to concern me. I'll go over.
What games are even coming out on Xbox Series X and PS5? Name them. There's not anything coming out on those platforms that I am interested in or looking forward to. There's nothing. Okay. Switch isn't getting ports of AAA games because nothing is fucking coming out. It has nothing to do with the hardware, you fuck. Switch is still the most popular gaming platform in the world. The fact that he's downplaying this and saying that the Steam Deck is going to replace it in his mind, it's delusional. It's just pure clickbait.
Look, if you want a whole recap of it, that's not what this video is about. But I'll go into some of the stuff.
Yep. Just so he can downplay it.
Examples of why I'm starting to get concerned. Actually, I've been concerned for a while, but my concern about the Nintendo Switch and its hardware limitations is starting to accelerate. So they showed Fire Emblem's Warriors 3.
Fire Emblem. He didn't even pronounce it correctly.
One of the things, it looks okay, but the thing about it, you notice that the game is struggling when there's a lot of enemies on the screen. Again, the Switch's hardware limitations, it's really showing its age now. I know a lot of people were looking forward.
I didn't notice anything off. Like, it sounds like he's just making shit up. You know what I mean? It just sounds like he's like, oh man, you can tell the game is struggling to run. Like, is it? Like, I had problems with the stream. I went back and watched the trailer for Three Hopes several times. Like, I have problems with Three Hopes, but like, I wouldn't say it looks like it doesn't run well. Like, that's such a weird complaint for me to make. Like, when I talk about my problems with Three Hopes, I talk about like my concerns for the story and like the alternate universe fanfiction shit and like the nature of a Warriors game. Like, I don't really think that I don't really bitch about the frame rate. I don't bitch about like, oh man, the Switch can't possibly handle this, because I absolutely know it can. Like, I've played stuff like Samurai Warriors 5, and I've played Fire Emblem Warriors and Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity, and although I don't like those games, like I know that they run on Switch, so.
So this Advance Wars 1 and 2 Reboot Camp arrives on the Switch on April 8th, 2022.
Yeah, really hyped for that.
No Man's Sky. Now, they also showed Splatoon 3. Again, it looks like it could run on the PlayStation 3. That's coming soon.
Bullshit! What a complete tool. Hang on, let's repeat that.
3. Again, it looks like it could run on the PlayStation 3. That's coming summer.
Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! How dare a game have a cartoony aesthetic? How dare a game not look hyper realistic? I love how he like just goes through No Man's Sky and then just, oh, by the way, here's Splatoon 3. It looks like a PS3 game. What a complete joke. You know, No Man's Sky is a PS4 game. You don't hear me talking about No Man's Sky being shit because it's a PS4 game. When I talk about No Man's Sky being shit, I bring up the fact that it's fucking shit, okay? People like Rich, they have no criticisms of Splatoon as a franchise. They have no idea what it's about. They have no idea what the gameplay is like. They have no idea about the lore or the general gameplay or just how addicting it is or even really how successful it is. It's probably one of the most popular third-person shooter franchises in the world right now, and yet nobody wants to admit it because it's a Nintendo exclusive. Like, and meanwhile, Rich is trying to convince you that, like, this isn't something to look forward to. Like, I've had people in my chat, like, when I do streams, try to tell me this isn't something you should look forward to. It's a complete joke.
A lot of people are excited for that, and I hear Splatoon is a lot of fun. Now, before
he didn't even play Splatoon. He's never even played it.
They showed MLB
what a joke.
Show. It's weird to see the PlayStation logo.
PlayStation is going third party, bro.
But that's the thing, due to the MLB license, and it's coming to the Switch. It looks rough from the footage that I saw, but who knows, maybe it'll look better. But again, I think we're seeing hardware limitations. I knew that was coming, but it was still strange to see that. Now, I will say, again, this wasn't a showcase of the Switch's power. I know the Switch isn't about that. I just want to make that abundantly clear.
Yeah, sure. Which is why this entire video is bitching about it. Switch Sports.
I was hyped until I saw they didn't have boxing. Why don't you have boxing? That was like with Wii Sports. That was a staple. Man, bring that. Hopefully they make that like DLC.
Yeah, I've got to play this. I can't wait for this. This is coming out in April, right? I actually already pre-ordered it.
Seriously. And for Mario Kart 8, which originally came out for the Wii U. A lot of people were expecting a Mario Kart 9. No, there's going to be a Booster Course Pass DLC where over time, it'll be until 2023, that they're going to have 48 remastered courses, 48 courses in total. You could actually get this if you're already signed up for the Nintendo Switch Plus expansion pack, or if you just want to buy the DLC pass, it's $25. So if you already have the expansion pass for Nintendo Switch Online, you're good to go if you have Mario Kart 8, a game that was made, like I said again, for the Wii U. It's an 8-plus-year-old game. that.
Oh no! How dare they release new DLC for one of their most successful games ever, you know? Like almost 50 million units sold. Like this is what I'm talking about. He is downplaying the success of the Nintendo and the Switch. It's disgusting. Like I see this and get super hyped, but people like Rich are just complaining about, let's be real, literally nothing. Like, it doesn't even make, his complaints doesn't even make any sense. Like, maybe, like, do you know how many courses are in the typical Mario Kart game? Like, until Mario Kart 8, like, it was like, what, 32? You know, then they released DLC and then came out with, 48. And now we're getting twice that amount. It's equal to the content of a brand new Mario Kart 8 game. It's going to be like the Smash Ultimate of Mario Kart. And yet, somehow, Rich has spun this into being a bad thing. This is what I mean when I say he's trying to construct a narrative. He's a joke.
They're making a whole bunch of new courses for. Cool. Now, these are some games they're porting over to the Switch. I just want to, giving dates here. Now, there's one that's a modern game that came out for 8th gen consoles, 9th gen consoles. Zombie Army 4 Dead War.
Nobody cares.
2020.
Nobody cares.
Relatively new. Portal is coming to the Switch.
Nobody cares. Portal's overrated. Always has been.
Not saying it's a bad game, but came out in 2007. I'm not really a
how dare it be old, though.
So don't really care. No Man's Sky. Remember the whole debacle with that when it was a PlayStation exclusive initially and the developers bit off more than they could chew? Things have turned around for No Man's Sky.
No, they hasn't! It's still shit! Despite what you try to tell people.
Releasing Star Wars The Force Unleashed, which originally
pure
came
shit,
out for
pure
the
shit.
Wii
I hate this
and
game.
other consoles back in 2008. Klonoa, I will say this. I remember.
Yeah, I've never played Klonoa.
Showed me that
people keep saying it's great, but I don't have any experience with it.
And I played it, and it was one of my favorite platformers of all time. They are coming out with Klonoa Door to Phantom Isle and Klonoa 2 Lunate's Veil. They're remastering those. Those are coming to the Switch and other platforms too. But again, they're old games.
How dare
came out for the PS1 in '97. Klonoa 2 came out for the PS2 in 2001.
How dare Nintendo get ports for old games? How dare they re-release cult classics like Klonoa, like Chrono Cross, like Live a Live? How dare they? Nintendo's way behind the times. It's not like the Steam Deck where you're getting everything on Steam, you know, like all these old games. The complaint doesn't even make any sense.
Are you noticing a trend here? We're not seeing as many AAA games. Now, there's plenty of RPGs, and there's plenty of, like I said, of old.
Again, E3 is in like 4 months. Like, that's kind of my response to this kind of thing, is that we didn't see Zelda either. We didn't see Prime 4. We didn't see Bayonetta 3. There's a lot of stuff we did not see, right? And I think it's clear to me, I even said this before the Direct went live, is that like all the really good shit, like all the really big announcements are going to be at E3. People like Rich, I don't even think he mentions that in this video. He doesn't mention the possibility. Like, he's just constructing this narrative that Nintendo is bad and it's behind the times.
Older ports, and you're seeing indie games and less demanding games coming to the Switch, but as time goes on, we're not seeing as many Dying Lights. We're not seeing as many Dooms and Doom Eternal.
Oh no, not the Doom Marinos.
It's not going to be able to handle it. And
yeah. I remember when you fuckers were trying to say Switch couldn't handle Doom Eternal to begin with. I remember when you said they couldn't handle Witcher 3. I remember when you said it couldn't handle Mortal Kombat 11. And what happened? Those were the versions that I played. You're ridiculous, Rich.
2, which was already supposed to be out for the Switch in cloud form. They're just making cloud versions of the game where you have to be connected to the internet and you're streaming the game to your Nintendo Switch, because the Switch just doesn't have the hardware grunt to natively handle a game like Dying Light 2.
Yeah,
however,
that just
Dying
isn't
Light
true.
1 on the Nintendo Switch is a phenomenal port. It's black magic how they got that down.
Whatever.
Okay, like I said, I didn't go over everything that was in the Direct, because that's not the point of this video. I'm sure RGT85 and his ass crap.
Yeah, he's, I didn't go over everything because there was so much good shit that, if I talked about it all, it would have made my point even more ridiculous.
have a
like,
recap
what
of
an
it.
asshole.
Breaking news, his ass crack is actually going to have its own Twitter account soon, where his ass crack is
You're not funny, Rich. You can't.
RGT
You're not funny.
Ass crack coming soon. But corny jokes aside, my point with this video is valid. Nintendo, you're going to start losing people like me on the Switch.
Bro. Nintendo's gonna lose people like you due to being obese and not being able to live, not going to live that much longer. Like that's what you should be concerned about. Like your heart is gonna give out and you're gonna fucking die, and Nintendo is gonna lose a customer. Like I would be investing in like Wii Fit. I would be getting like I would be getting some fresh groceries. I'd be getting like fruits and vegetables. I'd be like trying to lose weight. I wouldn't be like on the internet talking shit about Nintendo, trying to make a little bit extra money this month. Like, fuck off, Rich. Like, fuck off, Rich. Nintendo is doing nothing wrong.
Switch first came out, and when you started seeing ports like Doom and The Witcher, it was incredible. You know, I know there's a lot of people that are going to be in the defense force here and saying, Rich, you care only about graphics. That's not true. When Doom 2016 came out, a lot of people had problems with Doom 2016.
Yeah, because it was
Switch
it was the game.
I understood the limitations of the hardware and still thought it was a fantastic port. Same with Doom Eternal. It actually runs better now. I was about it when it first came out, but
Doom Eternal came out in 2020. How exactly is he creating this narrative that like, oh no, Switch can't handle modern games when like Doom Eternal just recently came out? Like it doesn't make any sense. Like he's not even being consistent. Like it doesn't make any sense.
30 FPS for Doom Eternal, and you would like Doom games to be at 60, but they were great ports. You even have Wolfenstein 2, the new Colossus, which it's still, I look at that, that's to me a technical showcase for
that game is pure shit though. That game is pure shit though. Hated that game.
But you're getting my point. What I liked about the Switch, as a person who plays, I would say, more third-party games than first-party games, is that it allowed me to have these AAA experiences on the go. I didn't expect them to run at 4K 120 FPS, but if it was a competent port, I was happy with it. Now, as time goes on more and more, I'm seeing less of that. And I know, Nintendo, you're laughing your way into the bank right now and you're saying that the Switch is only halfway through its life.
Yeah.
But people like me are going to start moving on.
To what?
Products like this.
Did they sponsor this video? I don't even know what the fuck to even say to this. Like, I don't understand Rich and his mindset. Like, this random fucking Nintendo Switch knockoff product, which he even admits in this video is like over $1,000, is gonna overtake the Switch. Like, no, it's not gonna happen.
Player. Now, a lot of you are probably thinking, Rich, that thing is $1,000+. You're right. But
yeah.
It's not $1,000+. The Steam Deck. Yeah. And here is the thing, too.
The Steam
Deck is actually fairly affordable. And not only that, the Steam Deck actually outperforms, at least with the benchmarks we've seen in reviews, outperforms products like this. I've been using products like the One X player, the AMD version anyway, to play Halo Infinite on the go. And I get a solid 30 in that game. And the Steam Deck is actually going to be more powerful than the
Halo Infinite. Oh, man. Halo Infinite. Like, a game so terrible that it caused me to cancel my Xbox Game Pass subscription. Oh, man. I don't know what I would do if I had never played that piece of shit.
Version of the One X player I've been playing Halo Infinite on, so I'm going to have an even better experience with Halo Infinite on the Steam Deck. And here is the thing. Let's do some price comparisons here. All right, so you can get the Switch Lite for $199. That is significantly cheaper than even the base model of the Steam Deck, which is the 64GB model, which only has eMMC storage. You got to add more storage with a micro SD card. They all have a micro SD card slot, but here we go. Now when you get to like the Nintendo Switch, not even the OLED, you're at $299 for the Nintendo Switch. you're at $399 for a base Steam Deck. Now, before everyone freaks out, if you're more into Nintendo's exclusives or you're more into exclusives, I get it. Okay, so that's a non-issue to...
Notice how Rich isn't bringing up like piracy or emulation like the people in my my audience bring up. Like even he isn't trying to pretend that that Steam Deck is just going to emulate everything. Like he knows that that's just not going to happen.
You would still go with...
Even Rich won't sink that low.
Someone like me who's more into third-party games, the $399 Steam Deck seems really damn appealing. Especially when they were showing benchmarks of it running games like Control at almost 60 FPS.
Control,
and then
oh
when
wow.
You get to the
Control.
other versions of the Nintendo Switch, like
the best game ever
for the regular Switch, not the OLED. And then when you get the $349 for the Nintendo Switch OLED, if you're a gamer like me, or a third-party gamer who likes playing first-person shooters and all these different things, and then you look at the Steam Deck, which they actually show that games run pretty well off the SD card, at least for now. On the Steam Deck, it's only $50 more. It's only $50 more.
Yeah, that nobody's
going to take AAA games with me on the go. Yes, it's bigger, okay, but that's the One X Player 1S that I was using, is even bigger than the Steam Deck, and I held that just fine. Nintendo, don't do what Sony and Microsoft have done, and you have done in the past before too. Don't let your arrogance get the best of you. I know when I'm saying things like this, I'm sure in the comment section, and even if someone from Nintendo themselves saw it, they would be like, we're laughing our way to the bank right now. Are you kidding me? You're really trying to say, oh, Richard, we're going to lose you as a customer. Here is the non-existent Nintendo tier we're going to shed, Rich. But there's a lot of people that initially bought the Switch because they liked the fact that they could play AAA games, even if they're cut down or run at lower frame rates, on the go. If those games stop coming to the Switch, people like us are going to move on to devices like this. Don't buy this. This is too expensive.
They're not going to stop coming to Switch because the Switch is so popular. That's what he's not talking about, is that the Switch is dominating the industry. So it makes no sense to stop making ports. Like, companies are trying to get people to move on. YouTubers like this are trying to convince you that the Steam Deck is a viable product, but in reality, it's just not going to happen. Like, the Switch is going to continue being successful for the next 5 years, at least. And I fully expect it's going to outsell the PS2. And to think that this motherfucker is seriously trying to convince us that there's something wrong with Nintendo, like, yeah, I don't think so.
Steam Deck. And you damn well know, Nintendo, if the Steam Deck is successful, which it seems like it's going to be,
it's not
there are going to be other affordable contenders out there that are also going to take up some market share. I used to say before that the Steam Deck is not competition for the Switch. But after using these devices and being able to play AAA games on the go, which a decent portion of them I can't even play on the Nintendo Switch, it's making me realize that, yeah, these are competition for the Switch, and Nintendo is going to lose me as a customer if I can play games on devices like this, especially the Steam Deck, that's the best one and the most affordable one, and can't play those games on Nintendo's device. You're doing great now, Nintendo, but just know you're losing customers like me, and there is a lot of me. This is Rich of ReviewTechUSA signing out.
Yeah, a lot of body mass. Fuck. What a fucking spurg. What a fucking loser. Like, shit. The Steam Deck, I talked numerous times about all the problems with the Steam Deck, and, like, Rich didn't bring any of that up. Like, he just tries saying that, like, oh, man, it's more powerful. It's only slightly more expensive. It's not that big of a deal. Like, it's going to be competitive. It's not. Like, Valve has a history of releasing poorly conceived hardware that never really goes anywhere. Like, it's an observed phenomenon. And every single time you have people like him who insist it's going to be like an industry game changer, it's going to be a big deal, it's going to put Nintendo out of business, and it never does. Like, it just doesn't happen. Like, remember when VR was supposed to be a thing? Like, VR is losing Facebook, like, $10 billion a year. It's a huge failure, and people like Rich aren't talking about it, like because that's not where the money is. Like in fact, if anything, they're like defending products like VR, like the Steam Deck, like like Xbox Game Pass, like all of this stuff that's like unviable for some reason or another, like in favor of creating this narrative around Nintendo. Let's look at the comment section here, just so we're clear. I thoroughly enjoyed the direct, but I understand everything you said regarding the Switch currently. The third-party games that are coming I'm fine with, and maybe the minority, but I love some ports and collections of 7th and maybe 8th gen games, just so I can either replay or play for the first time in bed or on the go. Hopefully the chip shortage is a non-issue the next couple of years, and then Nintendo can make a beefy successor to the Switch by 2024, because the Steam Deck is going to look more and more enticing to me. Yeah, that's the narrative, is that Nintendo needs to put out like a Switch 2. They need to put out a new piece of hardware to make competitively viable. And like, this is just an evolution of like the Nintendo Switch Pro theory, in that like Nintendo was always going to release like an upgraded version of the Switch. But yeah, that narrative went on so long, they're asking for a new piece of hardware at this point. They want to like undercut the Switch while it's ahead. Like that's what it comes down to. Valve was so confident in the Steam Deck that they ported one of their biggest franchises onto the deck's biggest competitor. That takes some serious balls. what a weird take. I had the opposite take in regards to this topic. Like Portal coming to Switch on the same month the Steam Deck launches. That proves that Valve has no confidence in the Steam Deck as a product. Like the fact that they're doing that shows that they have no ability to make the Steam Deck a long-term viable thing. It's just a cash grab for them, I would say. Rich yesterday, my favorite console of all time, still my favorite console of all time. We'll move over to Steam Deck. Yeah, Rich is a joke. He's obscure. Steam Deck is like an extension of my PC, where my entire library can now come with me on the go, and I can play them on my full setup when I get home too. It's a no-brainer for me. For Mario Kart 8, I prefer the DLC with an initial 48 tracks. I didn't even know the Steam Deck will be coming out, and the price seems amazing. Yeah, that's the trend I notice, is that like most people don't even know the Steam Deck is a thing. Like my prediction, it's gonna sell like 300,000 units or some shit. Like outside of this circle of people who need the Nintendo Switch to not do well in order to keep generating clickbait, I don't really see a lot of enthusiasm for the Steam Deck at all. My thing is, there weren't that many third-party AAA ports to begin with. I didn't even bring that up. Yeah, there were a lot of games that never came over. There was a lot of shit. Like Grand Theft Auto 5 has still not come over, for example. The type of games we got in the Direct is what we've been getting since day one. Yeah, I think I've said as much. I'm the same, man. I love Nintendo first-party titles. I originally purchased my Switch for Breath of the Wild and Mario Odyssey. After placing my $5 down on the Steam Deck, though, my €5 down on the Steam Deck, though, and seeing recent hardware reviews, I'm super hyped for what it can do. I've been waiting so long for Breath of the Wild 2, but to be honest at this point, I'm just thinking, screw Nintendo and their Nintendo tax. I'm done paying over the odds for third-party games that will not only cost less, but play better on the deck. I don't think I can even stick around for the Nintendo exclusive. Sell the Switch and buy a bunch of micro SD cards and give us my Steam. It's my current thought process. What the fuck? Yeah, I love Nintendo, but I'm going to sell my Switch? Like, that doesn't seem like you're really all that enthusiastic about the company to me, you fucking retard. Absolutely love the Direct. Fortunately for me, the Switch is a console I really enjoy playing all the time, and Nintendo has been on a roll when it comes to sales. They're doing something right. Surprisingly based. Hopefully the Steam Deck pushes Nintendo to stop being so stingy on specs. They make too much profit on their devices, and they have games to back it up, just like other consoles, so don't need to. Greed, plain and simple. Oh, no. I hate this mindset that like Nintendo needs to have like a high spec device. It's not profitable. It's not a good thing. Like this was Sony and Xbox's plan, was just to like price Nintendo out by having like having hardware that they couldn't afford to develop with consistently, and just slowly start like winding them down. And in the end, that didn't work. So the fact that people still say this, that Nintendo consoles need to be more powerful, it just goes to show a lack of like real business sense. You know what I mean? Like if it's more profitable to release less powerful hardware, like just release the less powerful hardware. Like, Nintendo will continue to do well. Nintendo will continue to do well over the next few years. They make the most money from their first-party titles anyway. I also think the DLC approach to Mario Kart 8 is very smart. Yeah, even this comment section is just kind of low-key, just like, yeah, Rich, you're being retarded. like Nintendo isn't doomed. What are you talking about? It doesn't really matter because the Switch managed to sell way more than anyone anticipated while never having a price drop. I'm just hoping Nintendo can use the money they made from the successful generation to make the successor of the Switch have a capable chipset compared to high-end phones. Hmm. I'm tired of the chicken crap now, and with this stupid video about the Switch, I might unsub. Oh yeah, pretty based. Yeah, yeah. People never like Rich. He's a clickbaiter. Yeah, this is yeah. This video was a joke. There were no good points made. Rich is like just making shit up for clicks essentially. Steam Deck isn't viable. It's not going to be able to compete with the Switch. It's too expensive. Doesn't have enough games, and I think most importantly, people don't really bring this up, but it's going to be difficult to use with the TV. If you have to like buy extra accessories to connect it to a TV or like a computer or whatever, like it's going to be it's not going to have the same appeal the Switch does. Like people always talk about like the on the go thing, but like the real appeal of the Switch is being able to like switch between them like seamlessly. And I don't really see that happening with the Steam Deck. I think there's going to be some kind of problem with like transferring things to like a console setup to a handheld setup. I don't see Steam Deck doing well at all. It's coming out on the 25th, and the fact that like people like this are only talking about the Switch, only talking about Nintendo, says a lot about how excited people actually are for the Valve Steam Deck.